Hello boys and girls, happy Monday. I'm so excited for this week because this week we're gonna get to create another awesome art project. All last week we've been focusing on the element of art, value. And we know that value is the lightness and darkness of a color. We also learned how to create tints, shades, and tones, as well as a value scale. Now this week we're gonna get to apply our knowledge over the element of art, value, to create an awesome dragon eye drawing. So let's go ahead and get started. For today's art project, you will be creating a dragon's eye. To start off this drawing, we are going to need a white sheet of paper, a pencil and eraser, and a round object. Let's start off by grabbing our round object. I'm using in this case a cup, but you can use anything such as a lid. Now, we are going to place our round object right in the middle of the paper to create a perfect circle. Whenever I'm creating a drawing, I like to keep a picture as reference onto the side. So I'm going to keep this picture for today to look back as reference. Now, let's start off with the eye. We're going to first start off by creating the eyelid. Let's start off with the upper eyelid. And as you can see right here on our picture, we can use our top of our circle to guide ourselves and bring down a curved line from one side. Now it's very important to notice how I am lightly drawing my line because this is just the initiating part of my drawing. And we're simply going to continue the same curved line right onto our other side. Now it's time to create the lower eyelid. We are going to continue our same almond shape and bring down a curved line to close off both eyelids. Using our initial circle that we created, we are going to follow our almond shape to the right onto the other side to create the other part of our lower eyelid. Now that I am satisfied with my drawing, I am going to go back and erase any unnecessary lines. And this is why it was very important for you to draw lightly, because if you need to go back and erase, it is very easy to do so. Once you have your perfect eye shape, then you can simply go back and trace your lines once more. Now it's time to start working on our pupil. To create a pupil, we are going to use an oval shape. Now, you do not necessarily have to do it the way I'm doing it. This is where your imagination comes into place. You can get as creative as you want. Let's take a moment to look back at our picture of reference. Notice how you can see a highlight right on the eye. Well, we are going to recreate our own highlight. I am going to be using a triangle shape, but it's all up to you. Again, like I said, you can get as creative as you want. Since I feel like this part of my highlight is a little bit too big, I'm going to go back and adjust it. Once you are satisfied with your highlight, you are going to go back and erase unnecessary lines. I am going to begin by first erasing the line that goes through my highlight. Now that I'm done creating my eyeball, now it's time to create a crease fold. We are going to recreate this crease fold by simply following that same line that we created when creating our upper eyelid. Notice how we are simply going to follow that same shape or form that we first created. And again, once you are fully satisfied with your eye shape, then you can simply go back and erase any unnecessary lines. We are going to once more create a outer line on our eye shape, and this is going to simply create that waterline shape or that brow bone shape on top of our eye. Now that we're done with our eye, it's time to recreate the texture of our dragon's eye. So we are going to simply start off by bringing out lines on the upper eyelid. We are going to join these lines together by creating a curved shape line right on top of them. Notice how we have these empty white spaces. Well, we are going to go back in there and recreate the same shapes that we just created. We are going to continue creating the same shape right at the bottom of our eyelids. Let's take a look at our picture of reference. Notice how the scales at the bottom are larger than the ones closer to the eyelid. We are going to recreate the scales. We are going to create the large scales at the bottom of the eye, and these shapes are kind of irregular type of circled shapes. Now let's get started on our smaller scales, and these are the ones that are closer to the eyelid. The best way of creating the smaller scales is just creating circles right beside each other, close to each other. Once you have created your first row of scales, the second row is going to be a little bit larger. And that's the way the pattern that you're going to follow. Each row will be larger than the other. Notice that as we get closer to the edge, we are starting to create larger circles, and these shapes are starting to become a little bit more irregular. Once we are finished creating the lower part of our eye, now it's time to bring the same design up to the upper part of our eyelid. And there you have it, your own drawing of a dragon's eye. Now we just finished with part 1 of our project.